Welcome back to Coffee Talk with Mike and Janelle. We are on episode 26. I know it's been a while. We have missed you, but it's been a real crummy winter here in Buffalo. But we are back at it, and today we're going to talk about Perma, which is basically just another form of positive psychology. So, Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about positive psychology, what it means, where it came from, and why we're going to talk about it today?
Certainly. So positive psychology, it's a relatively new term, actually, discussed in the late 90s and really from 2012 on. So it's relatively new in the field of psychology. And a lot of definitions. Probably the easiest one is a scientific study about what makes life worth living. Sometimes people talk about positive psychology as how to bring more joy to your life. But the difference between that and traditional psychology is very often when we're talking about psychology, particularly clinically, we're talking about things that are not going well with someone, right? So if someone's living at their baseline, and then whether it's depression or substance use or trauma, they're functioning below their normal level. And most of what we do in therapy, in treatment with medications, interventions, is to get people back up to their baseline level of functioning. Positive psychology is really taking a different approach, saying, how can we help people live their best lives? How can we have them have more joy in lives? How can we have them function at a much higher level than where they're at? So it's very proactive steps to allow that to happen. And you started off talking about Perma, and that's one of the main pillars of positive psychology. And very often people say, well, someone needs more Perma in their life, more joy in their life, and we talk about that a lot, particularly with our work with New York Start, which we've highlighted in the past. It's one of the key things that we utilize with families and the individuals that we treat. But Perma is a really definable phrase, term. And it's Perma, Perma, and we'll have a little picture up there so people can follow along with what we're talking about. The P stands for positive emotion. The E is engagement. The R is relationships. The M is meaningfulness, and the A is accomplishments. And by that, talking about each one, positive emotions, what things make you happy, what things do you enjoy. They can be simple as engaging in hobbies or other things, but doing things that make you smile, things that you think about. Engagement, we talk about flow, like what activities do you do where you kind of lose track of time? For some people it may be knitting, for some people it may be reading, for some people it may be watching their favorite television show or some other activity, but something where you just lose track of time and you're in the moment and you're not worried about all those outside stressors that are going on. Relationships is kind of obvious. Relationships are super important. I think we all saw what happened during COVID when people weren't able to engage with their loved ones. Loneliness is a risk factor for mortality that is actually a higher risk factor for early death than heart disease and cancer. So relationships really matter. Meaningfulness can be different for everyone. For some people, it's doing things that are spiritual, church, giving back to the community, things that have a higher meaning than just day-to-day accomplishments. And then the last one, being accomplishments, is how do you look back and take inventory of, like, I achieved this, I graduated from college, I completed this project, I was able to help in this fundraiser, things that you can kind of measure and say, look, I did this. And so taken all together, it provides tools for individuals to really be able to focus on bringing more joy to their lives, which we have found very, very helpful clinically.
And so specifically with our work with START and just our individual work with our APIC patients, we really like to use strength spotting, where we really maximize what the individual is good at or what they're interested in, and really tries to find opportunities for them to have more Perma surrounding these things. When I hear Perma, what rings true to me is like the Erik Erikson stages of life. At the end of life, you're thinking about, what did I achieve? What did I accomplish? What am I passing along to the next generation? What did I do with work? What relationships, positive relationships, close relationships, families and friends, and how did I get back to my community? I think those are ways for the general public to kind of understand what Perma means, how you're adding meaning to your life, and how we can also help others add meaning to their life.
Absolutely. And it sounds like a big topic, and a lot of times when we're working with families, particularly through APIC and with our role with New York Start, We'll have parents, mothers often who are so overwhelmed, and we always ask the question, what are you doing to take care of yourself? What are you doing for your own self-care? And very often that is met with kind of a blank stare and often tears. And just, I have no time to even think about myself. I have two children on the spectrum. They're out of school. There's no day programs. I'm just surviving minute to minute. And to me, the power of the idea of PERMA, and when you see the graphic up on the screen here, gives an examples under each of those PERMA things of examples. Yes, can you dedicate 2 hours to meditation? Maybe not, but I bet you have 2 minutes. And the power of this is you can do things incrementally.
Yeah.
You can do things for a minute. You can do things for 5 minutes. I don't care how busy your life is and what's going on. You can separate just a little bit of time. And so it, more than just an idea, it becomes part of the treatment plan.
Yes.
How do you get someone to be able to do this? And to us, we treat individuals, but we treat the families and the teams around those individuals as well. And those care providers can only provide care when they're taking care of themselves.
That's one thing I wanted to mention, particularly if it's just, one single parent, they're the primary caretaker. That's what they do 24/7. And I know in the past we've worked with families and the couples are like, we haven't been out to dinner in 25 years because we can't leave our child with someone. We're worried about what might happen, or if they're going to be safe, or if they're going to be aggressive. We're not sure. And we've been able to help support them in finding appropriate respite so they can have time together as a couple. So, again, it's really important that you take care of yourself and you build your capacity, because then you are able to better care for those around you. So to that end, Mike, we do a lot of intense work with a lot of intense cases. And I know we often talk about PERMA and what things that we would like to do for PERMA. And I mean, I like vacations. I like the sun and the sand and listening to water. And that helps me be in flow where I lose track of time. And I know Mike likes to get away, and he does a lot of excursions with his family and his children. And he likes adventures. And we're hoping in the next few episodes to maybe share some of our PERMA with you guys, and also implore you guys to think about what gives you PERMA, and maybe even share it in the comment section here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we'll be highlighting, we have a lot of travel coming up. APIC is a mobile team first and foremost, and the travel season's coming up, but we'll be traveling probably about 10 times in the next 3 months to various conferences and treatment locations where we work. And so we'll be trying to share online a little bit some of our practice what we preach here, and some of our self-care and PERMA as well.
So we hope all of you have gained a little bit of insight on how you can maybe get some PERMA into your life, and we'd like to hear about it. Until next time,
APIC out.
APIC out.